don't know.
Yeah.
We are recording. You are live. Hey everyone. So we have our panelists here. I feel like I'm a TV interviewer. Like, okay, I'm on the spot. My name is Nancy. I work with the Career Learning and Development, and I'll let the panelists introduce themselves, and then we have a few students asking questions. So maybe let's just start with your name, the organization you're with, and how are you doing today? That's the question.
Hello, my name is Luiz. I work for Saanich Foundation, and I'm doing very good today.
Hi, my name is Chapman. I'm the Social Procurement and BCSPI Coordinator for BiSocial Canada. So we're the social procurement leaders in Canada. How am I doing today?
Question.
I feel I got to park down by the water today, and so I feel very grateful to be back here at Royal Roads.
Nice.
My name is Trish Hicke, and I'm one of the recruitment coordinators for the district of Saanich. And I work in HR. And yeah, I'm feeling great today. It's a beautiful place to be.
Yeah, beautiful day. Yeah. Thank you. And we'll take question from the audience. But maybe one of the questions I'm trying to see, we do a lot of those events trying to connect our students with kind of real life and real organization. So maybe because Em and Luiz, you are BBA grads, can you tell us maybe how you apply, like you learn stuff at school, and then for you, Luiz, you did an internship, like how did that transition into your career, like kind of almost career tips maybe, and Trish, you can say the same, career tips for a student now being in year 3, year 4, some of our master's students are just kind of thinking of what's the next step, like how can I be prepared to find an internship or a job after my studies. Yeah, maybe talking about your personal story. I need more coffee.
Yeah, you go first.
To me, I think, first of all, working at Saanich Foundation is also the same organization that I did my internship here at Railroad, so that connection for sure really helped. But to me, I think the biggest takeaway that I took was to make meaningful connections and to network with people, because especially when you're talking about sustainability, I guess such a tight community that everyone knows each other and everyone is like there to support you. So if you, while your time here, you make those good connections and you kind of like make sure that you're remembered, make sure that people know who you are, make sure that you're there interested in like kind of showing up for it, doesn't matter what you're doing. To me, it's something that really helped, and it's something that I took very value when I was here at Railroad, because I think although my program was a bit different than what it is right now, everything was about those connections. Everything was about you knowing each other. It was about showing up and showing like, just kind of understanding where you are and kind of making sure that people recognize you. And later on, being part of that community, people like really took value on that. So it's the learning, you will always learn things here and you always learn things at the job as well. But the connections to me and the networking was the most important part and something that I took a lot of value on it. So that would be the biggest takeaway that I would give. Yeah.
And can you tell us about the organization you work with, Impact, during your internship? Did you meet people there as well?
Yeah, for sure. So with my internship, like we were helping businesses become B Corp. Our client was Impact, which is a tourism event that happens in Victoria that is hosted by Synergy, DGV, and a few other organizations. And they're going through a little bit of a change now, but at the time being at Synergy, we were able to connect with all the founders of the event. I think at that time it was maybe their second year. So they were very brand new. And being able to be on their offices and meeting people, they are where you're trying to get to.
Yeah.
That was very nice and very fun to be around. And I think that was an opportunity that without the internship would have been very hard to be in those rooms. So, yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think building off of what you were saying about networking, I found that we were in a project-based cohort, so we had projects, and one of the projects that I was really into, I really dove right into it and tried to meet as many people in that sphere as I possibly could. It was in social enterprises. And so that was a really great opportunity to kind of get the landscape of what people are actually doing work-related wise. And so I really do think that my job at BHER Canada, I really think that they saw that I had experience in that landscape. I knew names of people in that sphere who they actually worked with. And so that really helps being part of, if you have a project that you're really into, really dive into it. And, you know, some projects you won't be as into, and like save your energy for those ones that you're really into and really dive into them. Because if you know what you're talking about during an interview, or, you know, people in that landscape, I think getting a job in that same sphere is way higher, the more likely. And yeah, that, I think I had another point, but I forget what it was.
Question for me, how did you translate that kind of course into your resume or into your cover letter? Did you put it as a work experience?
I had a project portfolio.
Okay.
So I highlighted the projects that I felt really good about on my resume and tried to really highlight the important pieces of that project and what I did. And the skills that I learned, you know, like communication is a whole other part of the work life. Like learning how to communicate with many different types of people in your teams. And so if you put that as a skill as well in your portfolio on your resume, I think that that's really important for people nowadays working in teams.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what are your tasks now in your, I don't really know your organization. I tried to research it, but I didn't quite understand what you do.
Yeah, so BHER Canada certifies social enterprises. I think we're the only certifying body that does that in Canada. So we have a whole community of social enterprises across Canada that we work with. And we also work with clients such as public institutions, municipalities, private corporations. We work with all kinds of clients to help them develop social procurement policies. So not just policies, but also frameworks. So we basically just work with our clients to try to get them to direct their money in sustainable ways, social ways, ethical ways, whatever word you want to use, so that those social enterprises more money can be directed to them, because they are so powerful in our country and everywhere. Yeah.
Thank you. I'm like, what was the original question?
Yeah. Yeah, so at the District of Saanich, I'm on the employer side, right? So, and just the networking discussions are super important. I think, a lot of our folks that work in all these different departments, because we have so many different opportunities there, they're so passionate about what they do, and it's nice to connect with those people. And like you were saying, when you're just like into something and they're just so into it, you know, like our some of our parts, like I've been on different panels, interviews, and everybody they're just so passionate about what they do. So I always find that if you're at a job fair or a career event and you're talking to somebody that's not, you know, me, who is the recruiter who just like knows a little bit about everything, not like a lot about one thing. It's nice when we have like managers or supervisors that actually know what they're, you know, talking about. And when you take the time to chit chat to them and like really sort of make that connection with those people, because those are the people who will be on the panel, but also it just shows them sort of how passionate you are about it, and they'll remember your face, so they'll remember your name. Or we've been to a lot of events, instead of, you know, oh, so what do you have that you can offer me, you know, like that kind of thing. It's more like, you know, what can I do to help you? You know, that's the kind of good connections that I recall getting. And then it's nice, then you see them in the hall sometimes, so the people that you've met at some of these events, and now they work there. So that's kind of it's a really big, I mean, you definitely have to have the education and all the experience in behind it, but also, like you were saying, having your projects as experience, because they are experience. You're out in the field doing things, so it is a good thing to put on your resume as an experience, because they'll use that, especially if you're, you know, because how do you get the experience if you don't have the experience, right?
Yeah,
So
that's a
that's what you
question
need
the
to
student
use
understood,
as
yeah.
your experience. So, and that's also a lot of supervisory positions. Some people say, well, I'm, you know, I'm stuck at this level and I can't get to that level, but because I don't have the experience, how do I get it? So that's something, that's another story, but you know, to be able to offer that, to be able to give the opportunity for somebody that's, say, just shy of doing that next level, give them the opportunity in their current job, just to maybe do an extra project on the side so they can get that extra experience. So there's movement within the organization at Saanich. So we want to get you here and take you all the way to the end.
Yeah.
That's the
And would
plan.
you say this is something you like to see in a cover letter, for example? Someone saying like, oh, I applied for this entry-level job, but I would like to grow in the organization?
Definitely. Sort of the cover letter is basically your story of why you want the position. And I would say that definitely tailoring your resume to each specific position that you apply for, because you find there's a lot of general resumes, which, yes, it shows what you're needing for that position, but you know, for us, because we're unionized, you definitely have to have those requirements for the job. We do take what's the word, an equivalency. You know, there is like a bit of wiggle room, of course, but just outline exactly what it is that you want for the job, like what you have that aligns with that position. Really important, I think, to tailor your resume job specific, not generalized. Because we definitely get a lot of resumes that are for the wrong position, or, you know, doesn't really, but then it can outline in your cover letter how those skills are transferred to this position, even if they're maybe not quite bang on. Yeah.
Amazing. Any question in the room? I don't want to take too much space. I know you're taking note. I love it. Do you have any question? Are you year 3 or year 4? Year 4, perfect. Will you be looking for an internship in January?
No, I'm doing gas job.
Okay, perfect. But then you'll be looking for work after it. Okay. Any question that popped to mind for you?
Yeah, I guess like how hard for you, like after graduating from here to secure a job, and the skills you learned from this project, is that helpful for you in your job?
Sure.
I'll go after.
Okay. In terms of being how hard, I think it depends on sort of the timing as well. But I think what we learned here, at least, is something you can apply everywhere. So something that I've noticed, like working at Synergy now, so lots of people, before they worked Synergy, they were working in jobs that, if you look at it, is nothing related to sustainability, but you can always make it related to sustainability. So we had people there that worked, for example, at restaurants, and that restaurant had no, you know, set diversion station, so they had no, they just sorted their waste and just threw it out the way that it was. And one of our project managers now, actually, he asked, and he just proactively asked their manager if he could be the one in charge and create like a sustainability group within the organization. At that point was the restaurant that he was working at. So what we learned here, you can definitely apply everywhere to build this experience, even something not related to what you're looking right away. And then that is something that can add to your resume that you can put into other applications for the job that you're actually really looking for. So to me, that wasn't very valuable that I actually learned a little bit after. I wish I had learned that a little bit earlier. But as soon as I left, I started applying directly into, if not the position that I wanted to, but companies that had the same value aligned that I was looking for. And you can always sort of build that to build your resume and so on. But I would say that definitely what you learned here, what I learned here, I'm able to apply in my everyday job, and I'm still learning where I am, but I can always apply and I could apply in other jobs as well. So, yeah, I'm not sure if I'm answering exactly what you're asking, but, what I'm saying is, even if you don't feel like you're applying for what you're looking for right away, you're able to sort of curate that to build your experience to get where you're going to.
And before we pass it, can you explain Synergy Foundation? I know it really
Yeah.
well, but I'm thinking maybe not everyone does.
Yeah.
So we have Synergy Foundation, Synergy Enterprise.
Yes, for
And as we know, at the beginning, they were really small. When I met them, they were like 3 people, and now you see 30.
Yeah, now we actually, like, in this past year, we grew a lot. We're now 30 within both organizations. The enterprise does more sort of carbon accounting and help businesses offset their emissions, where the foundation works more towards circular economy. So I can speak for the program that I work on. I worked with Project Zero, which is, there's 2 programs within Project Zero. One of them is the incubator program, where I know Nancy, you participated on.
Was it the first cohort,
Yes.
2019?
Where sort of it's a cohort that helps entrepreneurs that are circular economy active, and they're trying to like develop their businesses and develop their idea. So we help them throughout the year with general businesses classes and connecting them with not important, but with people that are already in the industry, working there. So they go through the whole program trying to help build their businesses and their idea. And the one that I'm most involved with is the accelerator program, where we connect with small businesses to perform circularity assessments for them. So we will go to the business, we perform a site visit, we see what they're doing, and then we usually come back and work on a report where we can find options and actions for them to reduce their emissions, to reduce their energy consumptions, find alternatives for their waste, improve their waste diversion stations, and so on. So we have 7 actions, 7 categories that we look for, and it's always trying to make businesses become more active within circular economy. So so far this year we have 25 businesses accepted in the program. We've done 8 site visits in total, and it's focused on Vancouver Island and Sunshine Coast. So that's a little bit of what the
Very
foundation
cool.
does.
Yeah,
We also
thank
have
you.
BC Green Businesses, which is certification for business. That one's BC wide. It's I'm very happy there.
You can tell.
Okay, so your question was about how difficult it is to apply what you're learning in the program to a particular job or any job, right? I would say like on top of the projects that you're really into and like diving into those and making sure that you're building your foundation in those specific areas that you're really interested in. I would say kind of what I was saying earlier about like the communication in teams and using like remote business kind of skills, like what communication strategies do you have with your team members? How are you documenting things? How are you going to work with each other? What kind of agreements do you have with each other? Those are the kind of skills that I think are really important to any job now, because lots of people are working in teams. There's a lot of differences in how people connect with each other and how people work in a team. And so every project or every new team that you're in, see how it goes and really see what works for you and what doesn't in a team situation. Because I think those types of skills are really important to put on resumes. And people really do, at least the interviews that I've had, really like honed in on those things, especially now as a coordinator. I'm setting up meetings. I'm writing down as many notes as I can in meetings. I'm making sure that everybody's projects are aligned and everybody has the same idea of what we're doing. So all that coordinating, all those coordinating skills are really important. And I think that really helped me with landing a job that fulfills me. Because not only did I have that experience in a specific project, but also I have skills that from this program that I can apply to any job that people value. Yeah, that's how I would.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Anything to add on your
Yeah,
end?
just a little bit, just a quick thing, was a good point that you had made about, sometimes you don't. You're shooting for the stars, right? You want this job. Sometimes you have to start sort of a little bit more entry level and then move your way up. Which is, or something maybe that isn't exactly what you're looking for. But, sometimes you get your foot in the door at that company or that organization that you want to be at. Show how great you can be, and then you gradually move up, up the level. So that's kind of, what we do, you know, because there's a lot of, everybody, progression, retirements, people bump up instead of, you know, pulling someone from external. So there's a lot of movement. So that's something to think about.
You have a question? Yeah.
I have a question, which is directly to the point that you just said. So as international student, I'm having a general job here now. And when I apply for positions, most of the time they ask why I applied for an entry-level position. And I tell them that because I need to step into the industry somehow. And I'm using my previous experience and also the Canadian experience, and now it's a mix.
Yes.
But thus far, I couldn't manage to step into the industry. So do you have any points in that regard, how we can show the employer that we are, that trust us for the first time? Because everyone needs to start from a point,
Exactly.
especially in a foreign country. So how
We've actually just started, doing some inclusive recruitment. Basically like just some presentations through all of our hiring teams. And that was one of the points that we had mentioned, just things to look for, things not to look for. So I don't know, you know, every organization is different, but we're trying to, you know, not look at things like gaps in their resumes, like you've moved here, obviously you needed time to get here and find a job and a place to live and all that stuff. And we work like very closely with ICA and, you know, a lot of different intercultural sort of organizations and understand sort of how that process works. And we're aware of that. So for us at Saanich, we definitely understand that you're just trying, people who here very educated and have a lot of experience at home and then come here and, you know, you're just have a job because you need to have a job so you can pay rent or, you know, eat. And then, being in your industry is very important. So I think you just got to persevere and maybe use that in your cover letter, just sort of explain your situation. And I'm looking to get into back into the industry that I'm interested in and continue a career here in Canada or BC or Victoria or wherever. But I think that's the best thing to do. But for us, we're a lot more aware of that and using that, not using it as something that's a basis of hiring. So
Good point. Yeah. And I think as we have folks coming after the other project, we might just wrap up and just network together. But yeah, thank you. And you find a word, something you're like, oh, I wanted to say that, and I forgot. Just so please, you're here. We said it all, and we'll continue to make connection as we mentioned. So thank you, and I'll stop the recording. Thank you for coming.